Hey guys, so I am going to be doing my July wrap-up video today, and I felt like I didn't read a lot. Like, I felt like I read a ton more in July, but I guess I did read 15 books, so it's like a book every other day, and I feel like I read more, and it's just kind of driving me crazy, but I didn't. So yeah, so these are the books I read in July and what I think about them. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is Whisper by Phoebe Catandis, and I really didn't enjoy this book. I read this for Booktubeathon, and this was the book that my friend picked out, and I got this from Book Outlet, so it was like a cheaper book. And that's probably why I bought it without reading what it was about. And the idea is cool, so I may have read what it was about, but it's just such like a bad storyline, and I'm not a big fan of it. So, yeah. I was really disappointed by that book. Phone's ringing, bye. Okay, sorry about that. So, the next book I read, I really loved. So, actually, every book after that one I really enjoyed, so, sorry. So this is Struck by Lightning by Chris Colfer, and this is also a movie, and I didn't know it was a book. I thought he wrote like the movie script, but he also it's based off a book. So I'm a big fan of Chris Colfer. This is actually a signed copy because I met him, and if you watched my haul video you would know. And I loved this book so much. It's about a guy named Carson Phillips, and he's like an outcast, and everybody hates him, and he's trying to start this literary magazine at his school so he can get into his dream school, Northwestern. And it's just him like blackmailing people, and it's just really funny and clever, and I loved this. It was so good. So that's Struck by Lightning. The next one I read, I think I read like really like close. I think I read this on the 4th. This is Megan Mead's Guide to the McGowan Boys, and I have been meaning to read this one for a while. I bought it online a while back, and it was really funny. It's a good light read. It's somewhat short, although this is about the length of all the books I read, so. But it was really good, and I would suggest this to anybody. It's like, I read a book on Wattpad. I don't know if you guys know what that website is, but it's like a bunch of books that users write on the website. So I read a book based off of this book, and it was one of my favorite books for a really long time. And then I read this one. I bought this one, and I didn't read it because I was afraid it wouldn't live up to the expectations of the other book. And it was just as good. I really enjoyed this, and I would suggest this to anyone who wants a really light, funny read. But there's romance, and I don't like the ending though. It ended on like such a like I was just like, please just don't leave me like that, but whatever. The next one I read was Winter Girls by Laurie Halse Anderson. It's this one. I like the cover, by the way. It's kind of pretty. But this is about a girl, and she has anorexia, and then the girl's name is Leah, and her friend Cassie died, and she was suffering from like bulimia, and it's just a really, like, I don't know how to describe, it's like, it's kind of depressing, because like throughout this whole thing, she like is suffering from like, she doesn't think she's like thin enough, and it's just, I feel so bad. And it's a good book, but it took me like it was really hard to read. So yeah. The next one I read was Please Ignore Vera Dietz by A.S. King. And I got this one from Book Outlet, and I've been meaning to read it for a while, and I'm so glad I did. It's so good. It's about a girl. Her name is Vera, obviously, and her best friend just died. What's with best friends dying? Oh my god. I picked like a big stack of books to bring with me on vacation, and they all had like a dead person in it. It was just not my day. So her best friend died, and it's just her like, he like betrayed her before that, so it's just her like getting through this, and it's funny. It's not like depressing, it's really funny, and I really liked it, so you should read it too. I'm trying to stack the books here. The next one is Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan, and I didn't know what to expect for this book, because I know it's a 24-hour bookstore and weird things happen, but it was so good. And it's like these people come into his bookstore and they read these coded books and they have to figure out what they mean, and they're all trying to uncode this book from like one of the first publishers, I think, and it's a really interesting story. I read this one in 2 days. It was really good, so I would suggest that for anyone too. The next one I read took me 4 days to read, and it's really big. So this is Under the Dome by Stephen King, and you guys probably, if you follow me on Twitter, you saw my tweets about the monster. This is the monster. If you didn't know, just thought I was talking about an actual monster, which could be, no. So this is about all these people, and they're trapped under a dome, and they don't know what's causing it. And I was thinking, it was like, my whole theory was that there was someone inside there, and then it just took a weird turn at the end, and I was like, no, I'm sorry, this is weird. This just got weird. So that's Under the Dome, and it was good. It was really good. It just takes a while to read and process everything. Like, I would literally read this for 4 days straight. Like, that's what I did for 4 days, so yeah. Okay, so the next 3 books are the first 3 books in a series, and it said trilogy in the back, so this was my series for Booktubeathon. I just ignored the last 3 because it said the trilogy. So whatever. So these are the first 3 books in Stefans Diaries. It's part of the Vampire Diaries series. So there's Origins, Bloodlust, and The Craving. And if you are unaware of what the Vampire Diaries is, it's just these it's about this part is about Stefan, and he just turned into a vampire in the first book, and it's him getting through life, and then I think it eventually leads up to when he meets Elena, which is what the series is about, him and Elena and his brother. His brother's in the little short series too, so it was really good. Yeah. Another one I read is part of the actual Vampire Diaries series, and that is The Return, Volume 2. It doesn't have a dust jacket because I've had this book since like 7th grade, and I have not. Look at this. It's like so dirty and gross, but this is about, this book was really good, but I feel like this series took like a weird turn in this little trilogy, because there's the first 2, and then the Return trilogies, and then there's a Hunters trilogy, which she didn't even write. So there's one more book that she wrote, and then a ghostwriter takes over. So I was like looking forward to continuing the series, because the first 2 were written like a while ago, and then she came out with this little trilogy. And then the next trilogy was not hers, but I think it counts. But so I really want to see where the series goes, but it's kind of taking a turn for like the weird side, so I was kind of disappointed, but it was still really good. So the next book I read was 4 by Veronica Roth, and this is another signed book that I got this month, and I just want to brag about it because she touched this book. Look at that. Do you see that? I loved it. It was such a good book, and every time he said something, I was like, "Forrest, stop, you're so attractive." And I haven't even seen the movie, so it's not like the actor. I just find his character, like his personality traits, extremely attractive. So, you know, I can say that, kind of, without being weird. So, yeah, I found this, like, a really good story, and it was, like, the 4, like, short series things, and then there's 3 exclusive scenes in Tobias's point of view. So I loved it. It was so good. and my camera's gonna die. Oh no! The next one is Hollow City by Ransom Riggs, and this one was really good. It was a good follow-up, and now I need to read the third book, but it was really good. I would suggest you read the whole series, and the first one was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and you should read this. The next one is If I Stay by Gail Forman, and I just went out and bought this second one, but I have to finish reading the book I'm reading now, so this is a big problem. But this one's really good. I would suggest this. I was crying a lot, so be careful. And the last book I read was Everywhere by Gabrielle Zevin, and this one's really good. It's about like what happens to you after you die. And I thought this like concept was so like mind-blowing, and I loved the idea of it. And it got a little weird in the middle when she starts speaking to dogs, but that's okay. It was really good, and I loved it. So yeah, I cried a lot in that book too. I cried a lot in a lot of these, so.